I just want you close to me. Though we have a
Hello, beautiful beings of light. I hope you all are well. Welcome to my dressing room and my morning ritual of putting on my makeup. I have been so frustrated with my inability to succinctly and timely bring out these messages to you, mainly because, as I mentioned in my last video, all of my systems have changed. My body is undergoing a massive transformation. I am requiring much more sleep than I'm comfortable with because I am always inspired and wanting to take action. And in the past, I was able to do much of the love manifest stuff in the early hours of the morning before everybody woke up and before the rest of my day began. And this morning, it is early. I'm filming this on October 3rd, and I am getting ready to go to the co-op that I am a part of, that my son is a part of, that we're co-creating, which is one of the systems, the new systems for my new earth, which is absolutely unequivocally working for me. I just adore it. All of these women and fathers too, all these parents have come together, and we provide theater, art, music. This year I'm teaching a class that we're calling Community Kindness, science, geography, hands-on social interaction for the homeschooling kiddos, and that happens on Tuesday. And then on Wednesdays, it's an outdoor hike or exploration of a local woods or parks, and learning about the local flora and fauna, and really getting into that sense of play. And today we're going to have a fall party and celebrate the change of season, and it's going to be a potluck, and we're going to have like potato sack races and tie-dyeing, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. But simultaneously, I also have been, milling over this this channeling that I've wanted to get out to you about tomorrow, that's been swirling around in my heart and in my mind, and I just have not figured out a way to make all of that work. And admittedly, I am a bit of a perfectionist. It's not just that, but I really enjoy making these video creations. It's my poetic, artistic aspect of myself, and I really adore making those videos for you guys. But right now I'm I'm like a newborn baby, like trying to figure out the basics, like how do I get up, how do I eat, when do I have energy, when is my brain online from these long hours of fasting, and when isn't it? And I'm just time management is something that has been elusive for me these past few months. So this morning, you're going to be in my dressing room while I put on my makeup, and I'm not doing this to conform to any standard of beauty. I dress every day based on how I feel, and I love putting on makeup, and it's just fun for me. So it's not something I feel I have to do. It's something that I like to do. And as you can see, this is me without makeup. So, you're going to get to see me always. So why am I making this video today? What is it that I want to talk to you about? So I think in order for you to understand what I'm trying to come with you today about, you need to hearken back to my last video, which was all about these crumbling systems and how we're getting squeezed, and the small actions that we can take every day to create new systems within this crumbling paradigm, and how absolutely difficult and challenging that is for us. And tomorrow, which is going to be October 4th, is really what I wanted to discuss with you, because there's a lot being said about October 4th. But what really no one's talking about is the larger archetypal energy stream of October 4th and what that actually is indicative of. What we're seeing manifest in the mirror of our reality is actually indicative of Black Moon Lilith moving into Virgo for a 9-month period beginning tomorrow, October 4th. Okay, so I also had discussed in some of my earlier videos the return of Venusian consciousness as well, and how the Venusians are the embodiment or the logos of our future selves, and how they'd been reviewing our time crystals and had been creating this scaffolding, okay, this energetic scaffolding, which would allow us to tether in these higher, like broadband frequencies, and how this return of this divine feminine energy was going to really be shaping up the future of our reality moving forward. Okay. Also, not to forget that this whole year has been about Trinity. Okay. And the higher heart chakra coming online, and Venusian consciousness is also our higher heart. Okay. And we've been steadily moving into that state of balance where the vertical line of the etheric and the horizontal line of the material realm are trying to balance itself. But in order for that balance to happen, shit's got to hit the fan. Okay. And that is what we're experiencing right now. That's, that's what we're in the midst of, and really have been, for a while. But there's also another aspect of this, which is Black Moon Lilith. Okay. So Black Moon Lilith is been talked about in various different forms throughout history and mythology for a long, long time. The most probably famous understanding of Black Moon Lilith is that she was Adam's first wife. And she rose from the ground. She was not of his rib, right? She was her own autonomous being, and she was individualistic, and she had her own sexual desires, and Adam wasn't having that. Okay. And so he kicks her out of the Garden of Eden. He banishes her, and then he creates Eve. And because of this banishment, there was all kinds of crazy cake kind of mythology created around her, with her, being demonic and creating demonic children, and really was just indicative of how the divine feminine energy was perceived during that time. Okay. And then I think it was in the 80s. I'm gonna have to double check that. Hold on. Okay, in the interest of time, I cannot find it. But at a certain point, this, patriarchal narrative of her as this, like, night hag and, whatnot was kind of revamped. And this new understanding about Black Moon Lilith started to come into the picture. And Black Moon Lilith is not a logos, okay? It is a point of where the moon is the farthest from the earth, or an apogee. So Black Moon Lilith is quite literally the dark side of the moon. And she represents all of the pushed down, stuffed aspects of the divine feminine energy, the suppressed aspects where we've been shamed and guilted, and where we've, quote unquote, had to, turn ourselves out, if you know what I mean, in order to navigate through a patriarchal society. And she is moving on October 4th into the sign of Virgo. So if you remember my last video, we've had this mercurial energy in Virgo. There was this new moon in Virgo. And now we have Black Moon Lilith moving into the energy stream, the archetypal energy stream of Virgo. So again, Virgo, all of our systems from the micro to the macro to the galactic to the omni are being looked at and structured. Okay, the structures of our reality, the foundations of our reality, from the smallest system to the largest. Okay, and all of this shadow aspect of the divine feminine, of the moon. Okay, so if you guys remember, if you've been following me for a while, channeling the Tarot group and the concept of tethering, the moon is the past. The moon is the subconscious. Okay, so all of this stuff is being brought up and forward about the structures of our reality, the distorted structures of our reality and of the lack matrix. Okay, so it's no coincidence that right now there's this, this narrative being created around what is going to happen on October 4th. Okay. And I'm not going to get into, like political, I'm looking at this from a larger, collective perspective and understanding why these things are happening. Okay. But essentially, if you guys have been, on the internet at all, there's been a lot said about October 4th and about this, test of the broadcast system. It's going to be happening in North America. And if you're asking questions about that, that's great, because I'm going to be titling this video, Don't Fence Me In. But if you want to understand it, if you want to look into it, okay, and you want to look into how does this technology work? How do they push out these things? What was the Warren Act in 2008? What is geofencing? Okay, if you want to look at it from a factual perspective so that you can understand it, great. If you're coming from a fear place, which is where a lot of this stuff is intended to place you, because we're being entrained every single day, then my message to you is, and to myself and to all of us, is to look at the aspects of our systems in our lives where we are still subscribing to the overarching energy of dominance and control. Okay? Because the narrative of the human collective has been one of world domination, enslavement, indentured servitude, and control for thousands of years. And we are all in relationship to that to, varying degrees. Okay. So if this is bringing up in you a fear state, then you need to be asking yourself, what am I afraid of, really? Because ultimately, we are all swimming in a sea of energy, which is good and bad and everything in between. All right? Every moment of every day. And our frequency is being entrained every moment of every day, whether we're aware of it or not. It always has been. And it's more about the environment. The environment. Where are you in relationship to these cell towers? Where are you in relationship to social media? If you think about our feed, what we're being fed every day. And are you comfortable with that? Are you comfortable with that? And if you're not comfortable with that, how are you going to go about changing it? Because all of us can sit here in a fear state, and I could be rambling on all of the scary stuff that's like happening right now, you know, with all of the changes that you had with, you know, YouTube policy. Now, holistic methodologies are no longer going to be, quote unquote, allowed in the algorithm. And so anybody discussing holistic ways of managing their health and treating themselves are no longer going to have a voice. You've got the stuff going on in the UK with the internet bill being passed there. I mean, I could ramble on 1,000 things right now that are happening, but the reason that that's happening is to bring the light of awareness to what was already going on. We just didn't know it. We had no clue. Well, now that we do, what are we going to do about that? Are we going to continue to support the systems of dominance and control that we're in relationship to? I mean, essentially, I'm doing that right now because I would like to be able to get this message out to you. But in order to do that, I'm having to use platforms which I don't, I'm not aligned with energetically or morally. So what can we do about that? Like I said in the last video, it's time to start taking action, not just, running around, yelling about it. It has its place because we have to come into the awareness of it, but not from a place of fear. And Black Moon Lilith is going to be in this energy stream of Virgo for the next 9 months. So if this is the beginning of that, you can imagine what else is going to be drawn up and drug up about the systems, the dark systems, the dysfunctional systems that we've been in relationship to. When I was talking to my team in spirit about this, they gave me this analogy of like the big fire versus the little fire. And so these big fires are being created around these events, right? And with a big fire, everybody's going to pay attention. They're all going to stand and look and pay attention. But it's keeping people, if you think about it like a big fire, it keeps people in the circle of it really far apart. But if you start a little fire, right? If you start a little fire with things in your life, with the systems in your life, then it draws people close. And we need to start creating these little fires, Perfect example is this co-op community that I'm a part of. That's a little fire I've created. And the energy and the hope that gives me is a big fire, energetically. And so how can you start creating these little fires in your life? How can you start to untether and untangle and, dismantle your relationship to some of these dysfunctional systems? Because a couple months ago, I just really got this message that, it's time to start focusing on solutions, not the problem. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be focusing on solutions. And I'm going to be putting together a group where we can discuss solution-oriented models of how we can come together to create a new earth. Because it's time to start feeling empowered and stop giving over this disempowered victim state that we've all been in. And it's not like we haven't had cause for that, but it's not productive. And it is time that we start creating this new earth from the ground up. So, as Black Moon Lilith moves into the sign of Virgo, where can you begin to be unapologetic, authentic? What aspects of your divine feminine are still unhealed? And how can you go about shifting that? Because every time we shift that within ourselves, that's another little fire that adds to this collective energy. And what can you do to start creating solutions in the systems of your life? You know, where can you take stock? Sorry, I've got fuzzies in my hair. You know, where can you take stock? Where can you begin to take action? And also, conversely, what things are really working for you? What systems of the new earth have you created that feel abundant, that you can really tap into and then transfer that energy stream into other areas of your life? And where are you still in a fear state around being dominated and controlled? What do you need to do to become more autonomous? Because these systems, as I discussed in the previous video, are in a state of dysfunction. And the paradigms are shifting. But it is going to take our time, energy, and effort to build new foundations. It's got to come from somewhere. Why not you? I'm sending you all big love. Have an awesome, magical day. Bye.
Just wanted to say I love ya. Scully loves ya. Bye.